Welcome back, party people. You are listening to Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnauts. It is Saturday, August 22nd, 2020, and this is episode 38. Coming up on today's show, Nintendo had a Indie World Showcase with a bunch of cool announcements. We'll be talking about those. We have an update on the Epic versus Apple fight. And we finally know what WB Montreal's new Batman game is all about. We will be talking about that and more in just a bit. But for now, my name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Ignacio.
Oi, Governor. How you do?
I am doing all right, man. It's been... I was telling Melissa on Crossplay... which, I mean, not Crossplay on the captain's log. This is Crossplay. I'm telling Ignacio what I was telling Melissa. I felt like this week was just very normal. Like, the most normal it could be. Like, nothing really happened. There wasn't any kind of big news, except for the stuff that's happening today with, like, DC Fandome and stuff like that. But, like, for most of the week, nothing happened. At least that's how it seemed like to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Same here. It was just one of those regular weeks. Nothing big happened, nothing small happened. Just another week.
Yeah. I did get caught up in Season 4 of Lucifer, which is good, because Season 5 just came out on Friday.
How is it? How's Lucifer?
I really like that show. It's a lot better than I expected it to be.
Yeah?
If you're into, like your standard, like, CSI-style crime shows, it's basically that, but one of the main characters is Satan. Is the devil, and he's like a consulting detective. The whole thing is like the devil was like, you know what, screw hell, I'm gonna go hang out on Earth. And so he ends up like opening this bar in Los Angeles, and then ends up becoming like a police consultant and helping them solve crimes. So it's an interesting setup. It's a spin-off, or the comics it's based off of is a spin-off of Neil Gaiman's Sandman comics, which are pretty well known, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's Spider-Man villain.
Not the same. But yeah, it's a good show. I'm really enjoying it. I like it a lot. Especially if you're into like the Flash shows and Arrow and stuff like that. It's not necessarily tied in. They did have a cameo in the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, but it's a completely different type of show. Because I mean, the Flash is also like he's a police scientist, right? So he works for the cops, and every once in a while you'll see him working on a case, but like. The show is not actually about him working on the murder of the week, right? That's what Lucifer is. So if you're into that stuff, it's a good example of that.
Yeah, the only things I know about Lucifer are, like you said, the crossover with the CW shows.
Yeah, which I had no idea what was happening, and like they were on screen, and Constantine was like, I think I know someone that can help us get this soul back, and then they go to Earth 666, and it's the one where Lucifer is, and I'm just like, this is great, I love this.
Yeah, and then I've watched some YouTube channel that did a summary on the first episode. Yeah,
we covered season 1 on the review show, which I had like just started it like the day before Melissa pitched it on our other podcast. So I was like, let's do that one. Let's keep watching Lucifer. So we watched that. You guys can go find that on our website, thewhatnauts.com, where we covered Lucifer season 1, and then I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep watching because I liked it.
Yeah. I'm still reeling from the end of Agents of Shield.
Ah, yeah.
What
Do you happen to know when that's
day.
supposed to be on Netflix?
No idea. No.
Oh well, hopefully
But yeah,
soon.
highly recommend the show as a whole. It's great,
Indeed.
and I think everyone should watch it. It's eventually it stopped being connected to the MCU, which I think in a way it did work in its favor, so that they could do their own thing. So yeah, it's a great show. Everyone should watch it. I don't think it ever hit any real lows. I know a lot of people don't like the first season. I do, but it's just uphill from there. And then there are some lows, some deeps here and there, but overall the show always keeps a high.
Indeed.
What's the word? Blanked on the word.
Like a high bar, like a high level of quality.
Yeah, quality. That's the word.
Sure. That works.
I sometimes forget some random words.
Hey, man, I mean, English is your second language. So
yeah, I do have to translate.
There.
I have to think of something, then translate it, then say it. All while
That's
talking.
The thing with like foreign like countries that learn English. They often speak it better than they realize. Mm-hmm. And like here in America, we're just a bunch of dumb kids, right? And like can barely speak, and we're like, catch me outside though, right? That's how that thing works, right?
Yeah, no, but that type of people, that type of speech, you can see it everywhere.
Yeah,
you can find people talking Spanish that would also talk in the same level compared to what you just said.
That's true. I don't know if you knew this, Ignacio, but I used to live in Laredo, Texas, which is right on the Mexican border. And that was really interesting for me to do because like I took Spanish in high school, but it was very minimal, right? Once I did my 3 required classes, I was done. But I knew enough to kind of be like, lo siento, mi español es muy malo, no sé, you know. And then I would go find someone else who could help. But the people who were from America and spoke Spanish as their first language, their Spanish was so different from the actual like Mexican Spanish that like they would come into the store that I worked in, and even the Spanish speakers were like, I have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. I experienced that when I talked about this last time. I spent 3 months in Corona, California, at a school. So yeah, there are a lot of Hispanic and Latino people over there, and that's one thing that I noticed, the way that Latino kids there talk, how they would like start talking in English, then switch to Spanish, then English, and back and forth.
Yeah, that's Spanglish.
Yeah, that was so weird to me.
Well, let's see. Let's start diving into some video games because I think we got some good stuff to talk about this week.
Good.
I have to say that I jumped back into Ghost of Tsushima. I am hoping to get the platinum on that, and I'm very, very close. I think if I don't get it like tomorrow night, then I will on Monday. But I think I really only have like one more session, like a couple hours worth of just like go find this shrine and complete it and do stuff like that. So I'm excited for that one, but that's
Have you been using guides for that, or has it just been you going through it?
I've been using guides for it now that I've beaten it, because there was there's one trophy, for example, that is like go buy something from the black dye merchant and the white dye merchant. And I had beaten the game, and I had never found the white dye merchant, so I didn't want to just like go to all of the question marks to like find which one was which. I was just like, just tell me where it is, and I will go and buy something stupid. But then there is stuff like, hey, go bow to the 10 hidden like sanctuaries around. And it's like, well, if they're hidden, like, there's no way I'm gonna find these things. So yeah, but that's been good. That's been fun. I don't have much more of that. I did also beat Paper Mario.
Oh,
yeah. Rolled credits on Paper Mario. That game is good. I like it a lot. I think it was a lot of fun. It was a joy to play. Combat is both good and bad. Like, I see what they were going for, and I like it to an extent. But then it ends up being really repetitive for the most part. And some of the puzzles, like the whole combat system is basically a puzzle. And some of those puzzles, like I don't know how to solve those things. Yeah. And so it's just like, this is kind of dumb. I don't know. But I think the boss fights, for the most part, made up for that. I think when we first started talking about the game, I was like, I don't know, man. The boss fights are ridiculous. Like, they're a good challenge, but like, it switches up combat, and I don't know. But yeah, I ended up liking the boss fights a lot.
Yeah, for sure. The boss fights are some of the high points of the game. Like, first off, the regular combat, like you said, it is a bit repetitive. So when I was playing, I just started skipping them. I just didn't want to deal with it. But then the boss fights, I really liked how, like, the further you go with the bosses, it's just started to be, you need strategy. You're starting to need a certain strategy. For example, I remember the water elemental. You had to pay attention as to how much water it was filling itself up. Like, if it was full, you knew that the next turn the dragon would unleash like a full area attack. So what you would have to do is, in order to counter that, you would have to find the spot for the earth elemental, and that would then allow you to kind of rise above the attack and then not take the damage. So I like how it's starting to be more about a strategy.
Yeah, it does that really, really well too, because it's not, each boss isn't exactly like that, where it's like, oh, it has a special attack and you have to do the one that counters it and stuff. Like, it has some of that stuff in there, but then there's other aspects. Sometimes they have multiple moves, or there's stages. There's one boss that you end up playing rock, paper, scissors with, and you have to like on the board, there's a location for rock, a location for paper, a location for scissors. And so you just have to go to one of them, hoping that it's the right one, right? And so some people can think that's kind of cheap, but yeah, like it's creative, and I really enjoy that.
I liked how the one with the pencils, you could use your power of the stretchy arms, but you couldn't use it if the whole pencil case was open. So before doing that, you would have to stomp on it so that it would close, and then you would be able to use that attack. But even then, if you didn't want to do that, you could still just hit it regularly.
Yeah, exactly. Couple other things I wanted to mention about Paper Mario. I think it has a lot more emotional moments than I was expecting. There is one that a lot of people have been talking about online, and I kind of made a joke about in my tweet when I beat the game. But there's more than just that one too, and I think it does a really, really good job of kind of making you like oddly care for these characters. Like, it's not that you spend a lot of time with them or that like they have some deep, complex, emotional background. It's just like, it's not what you would expect. And it was just like, oh, this is this is more emotional than I realized. Huh, okay. Interesting. So I think that's another high point for the game. And last but not least, I think one of my problems with the game, especially with the combat, was the time limit.
Yeah.
And stuff, that you have this time limit that you have to kind of strategize and make your move within that time, or if the pieces aren't set, then you don't get the power up and all, it was kind of frustrating to deal with that. But I ended up realizing that there are item shops, or like accessory shops, that you can go to in the game if you find the right person and stuff. And they will sell you these like charms that will like, hey, your defense is now stronger. So if you don't hit the like defend button in time, it still won't do as much damage. There's one that will like give you 20 more seconds to every battle, to every turn. So
Nice.
by like halfway in the game, I never felt like the timer was that big of a problem. Just as long as I went and bought those charms. So be on the lookout for those if you guys think the timer is a little bit much.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were charms in the game.
Yeah, it's not much. There's only like 3 of them, I think. But there's like 3 tiers of those 3 ones. So as the game progresses, you can like upgrade those charms to be like, oh, now instead of giving you 5 extra hearts, it gives you 10 or something like that. So
cool.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've been playing this week.
Yeah.
So Ghost of Tsushima's pretty much done. Paper Mario is done.
Cool. Yeah, Paper Mario, I don't think I'll keep playing it. Like I said, I had my problems with the game, especially the progression through the story. How it felt like you wanted to do one thing, but to do that you had to do another thing, and to do that you would have to do another thing, and so on and so on. So yeah, I think for now I've given up on Paper Mario. I don't think I'll keep playing it.
That's fair.
So because of that, I've just been jumping around all of the games that I have on my Switch that I either hadn't finished or hadn't even started. One was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
I
only played a little bit of it right now. I don't remember why I stopped playing it. That's a game I
too
really
funky
enjoy.
for Ignacio.
No, it is a game I really enjoyed. I think the country games are really good platformers. And yeah, I popped in for a little bit. I had a lot of fun, and I think maybe I'll keep playing it. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I've been jumping through other games. I popped into The Messenger. I again left that game like halfway through, and again I don't remember why. And it was so hard for me to know exactly what I had to do, because
I gotcha.
Yeah, at first the game is pretty linear. Just go on ahead and you go through levels and whatever. But then it gets to a point where it kind of gets like open world in a way, where there are different areas, and because of that, when I got back to the game, I didn't know exactly what I had to do. The game doesn't tell you like, hey, go to this part, and it doesn't have a waypoint.
Gotcha.
At most, it had like a vague saying of what I had to do, kind of like whatever, but it wasn't pretty clear. So because of that, I ended up dropping it again. The game that I played next was SteamWorld Dig. I don't know if you played that one.
I have not. I've heard good things though.
I think it's Dig. There are a lot of SteamWorld games. I think it's Dig. But yeah, it's SteamWorld Dig. The basic premise is just that you're this robot. You get to this kind of like Western place. Everyone is a robot. And you get to this Western town, And it's basically you just have to dig, find treasure. You use that treasure to upgrade the town, which will then grant you newer upgrades, or you buy newer pickaxes. You better your lantern. That all helps you to keep on digging further and further. And there are some rocks that you cannot break with a certain pickaxe, so you have to upgrade your pickaxe to get another one. And then you also find upgrades throughout the level. For example,
Gotcha.
The one that I just got was now you can run faster, which means those ground tiles that would disappear once you touch them, now you can just run through them so that you can get to the other place.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the basic premise. You keep digging them down and down while getting better. I played through SteamWorld Dig 2, and I remember really liking that game. And so now I went back to SteamWorld Dig 1, and I don't know. From what I remember, the game is pretty much the same, but I'm not getting that much enjoyment right now from it, and I don't know why.
That's fair. I mean, sometimes when you play like a more modern version, it's difficult to go back to the original one.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't remember how it is different. I remember it was pretty much the same game. But I don't know. I think I might stick with that one for now. Like, there's nothing I want to play on my Switch in the horizon, so either that or just keep jumping around all the other games that I never finished.
Gotcha. That's fair.
That's it on the Switch side. I'm still playing through Final Fantasy 15. I finally got to the part where it stops being open world and it's just then kind of like linear.
Cool.
I'm still enjoying it as much as before. Like I said before, the story isn't that great. It isn't bad though. The characters are what basically make the game. I really like the interactions and how real they feel. The fact that I'm no longer in the open world never was a problem with me when I played it before. I don't think that the open world was used that well in this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It was more just like, hey, you can drive along the road.
Mm-hmm.
It was like,
it was more of a hassle.
Yeah,
having the open world there, because you would have to drive wherever you had to go. So now not having that, it is much better. That I can just go through the story and not have all the spirits of downtime.
That works.
But yeah, that's pretty much it on my thoughts on Final Fantasy 15. They're just the same as before, and not that far from the end. I would say 4 or 5 hours away from the game.
Yeah.
From the end.
If I remember correctly, when it does start to get more linear, that's when the character had been like asleep or something for a couple years.
No,
right?
That's way later.
No, okay. I don't know exactly where you're in then. That's what I was.
No, that's towards the
end. Okay. Well, there you go.
But yeah, that's it on Final Fantasy 15. And then the other game that I kept playing, I again just want to give a shout out to Digimon Adventure on the PSP.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, I love how well it recreates the show. What's fun about it is that the game came out 15 years after Digimon came out. And I love how they just wanted to do something special for the anniversary, and it really shows how much work they put into it and how much love they put into it.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching the first Digimon anime, and I can see how there are certain things that they take from the show, even certain things that the characters say, that they are not important in any way, but that they take it as, or they do it like how it was in the show. And I really love that attention to detail. One of my favorite things that the game does is that on the story, whenever they get a new evolution, they just cut to a cutscene where it's just the Digi-evolution animation of the show, and they play Braveheart, and I love it so much. And also I love how at the beginning of the game, when they first get transported into the digital world, they just play the intro of the show. I'm with Butterfly and all of that, and I love it so much. I really love how much love they put into the game.
That's good though. It's good.
That's it. Don't have anything else to say other than that.
Cool. Well, let's move on to housekeeping then, and then we can get on to the news of the week after that.
Okay.
See, I guess I need to do the little jingle. Here we go. If you guys did not know, which hopefully you do by now, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, thewhatnauts.com, or type in the Whatnauts on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Our shows will pop up right there. If you guys like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. At our $3 tier, we have all kinds of exclusive content from all of our shows. And in fact, Ignacio, Melissa, of all people, had an idea for us to do something for Crossplay, in which we each share a story about a video game mystery, like something that's in pop culture or something like that. So, like for example, a couple weeks ago when the big Nintendo Giga Leak happened, right? Mm-hmm. It was confirmed that Luigi had models for Super Mario 64 and stuff, right?
Yeah, and you didn't know what El Israel was.
Yeah, no. So like that would be considered a big video game mystery, right?
Okay.
She had one, and I don't remember what the name of it was. I don't know. But then did you hear about the like Microsoft Flight Simulator tower in Australia?
No.
All right, cool. I'll mention more about that towards the end of the show, because that's coming up in our upper runners. So we will dive into that. I thought that was a funny story. But yeah, all kinds of exclusive content on our Patreon. And last but not least, we'd like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, for helping us out and for supporting us and keeping the mics on. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Indeed. Okay, on to the news. Round 2, fight. Epic versus Apple. So yeah, we have an update on this beef between Epic and Apple. Let's see. This is coming from James Batchelor at gamesindustry.biz, and they write, now Apple has blocked Fortnite from the App Store. iOS users are prevented from downloading future updates. So as the current in-game season comes to a close, Epic Games is making the occasion with a hashtag Free Fortnite Cup. It's a tournament, and I believe by time this episode goes live, the tournament will already be done. But since the original ban on Fortnite and Epic's subsequent lawsuit, the dispute has escalated, with Apple terminating Epic's developer accounts and tools access. Then here is a quote from Apple. The problem Epic has created for itself is one that can easily be remedied if they submit an update of their app that reverts it to comply with the guidelines that they agreed to and which apply to all developers. We won't make an exception for Epic because we don't think it's right to put their business interests ahead of the guidelines that protect our customers.
Damn.
Yeah, so what I understand with Apple kind of revoking their access their developer account and all of that stuff. It's not it's not just for Epic, but it's for anyone using Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah. So Epic owns the Unreal Engine, so I'm guessing
Correct.
Somewhere Epic had a deal with Apple regarding the Unreal Engine, or maybe the whole developer account and tool access was someone connected directly to Epic's relation to Apple. So yeah, it's sad that all the people that are using those developer tools are getting caught in the crossfire. So that's bad.
I mean, to me it seems like a thing, just Apple not necessarily being petty, but just like, look, we mean business. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? Like if
we're Apple, we're not standing down.
Yeah, no, like if this is how you want to act, then we will not deal with any of your products, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of Apple, swinging their big dick and just being like, here you go, bam. But yeah, I know this can also potentially hurt other developers, and it blocks Epic from a whole lot of customers and stuff, which I think they filed for a restraining order, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, but I don't know exactly what that means in this context.
Yeah, from what I understand it, so on August 28th, I think is when this goes into effect, when they lose access to their accounts and stuff like that. And I think this is kind of making it so that it's like a stay of execution of just like, hey, don't do that yet, because it's not only us you're hurting now, it's other companies and other developers. Which, from what I understand too, I don't remember if it was Giant Beast Cast or like Waypoint Radio or something. God, I don't know why I can't remember, but someone was talking about that, was like, at the end of the day, the use case for people making games on Mac or on iOS using Unreal Engine 4 is probably relatively small.
Yeah.
But it is still something that they mention, like, hey, there's a very real possibility that one of the games on Apple Arcade is using Unreal Engine 4. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but like, that's a possibility. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised. Right?
Yeah, it is a possibility.
So
but yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is clearly, on this point specifically, this is Apple trying to exert its dominance on their own platform. They don't want to be dragged around by Epic, so they're just attacking Epic. This is basically just the next step after banning Fortnite. Yeah. This is the next step for them, and it really, neither of the platforms are, or neither of the companies are standing back or standing down. And so far as with the route Epic is taking, at the end it might be good for other developers. Like, if Epic does get its own way of reducing the percentage that Apple takes, it can help other publishers and developers on the platforms. But I just don't like what they are doing right now.
Like you mentioned, they are doing about it.
They are doing an in-game event with the hashtag #FreeFortnite. They are basically just trying to rile their own people to go against Apple. And this was also seen with the ad that they, or not the ad, but the video that they ran when the whole lawsuit started on their own in-game, with the whole 1980 something video that also ended with Free Fortnite. They are clearly trying to rile up their own base to go after Apple. And when a big chunk of your base is kids, that's where it gets a bit iffy for me.
Right. Yeah. agree. I think from my perspective, I don't know how effective this would have been, but I think it would have been better for Epic to kind of gather support and get other developers on their side and be like, hey, here's a letter with our demands for changes, and here's the signatures of 50 other companies, right? That could be affected by that, and I think that would have been a much classier way to go about that. And then if Apple started being pissy about it, then just being like, okay, well, if you're not gonna fight fair and you're gonna hurt other people, then if they wanted to do that like 1984 style video, I think I would have liked it more.
Yeah, but they are not being classy.
Yeah, they're kind of throwing a hissy fit. But at the same time, what they're fighting for is kind of a good thing at the end of the day. So it's a messy fight.
Yeah, it's like the means are the questionable part. The ends might be good, but the means are what's questionable here.
Yeah, indeed.
But yeah, and then with Apple's move of terminating the developer accounts and tool access, that might negatively impact Epic on their own stance, because I could easily see all the developers here that are being affected. They could easily see Epic just doing all of this stuff, and especially with the free Fortnite, and just take that as Epic trying to, I don't know, just fuck with Apple when they don't have to. And then the developers could easily turn against them.
Who knows, man? Who knows? See, I'm sure more with this story will be happening this next week.
For sure, with how fast it's moving.
Yeah.
Probably.
Wild stuff, man. Let's move on to number 2, which is all about Oculus VR. Apparently, they are going to be requiring you to use Facebook. You have an account. This is coming from Matt Kim over at IGN, who writes, Oculus announced that starting on October 2020, first-time users on an Oculus VR headset will need to log in using a Facebook account, and that support for independent Oculus accounts will end after January 1st, 2023. It seems like if you already have an Oculus account, you can use it for the next 2 years, but after those 2 years, they're basically going to be like, yeah, we're not supporting it after that. So
you would have to link your account. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I get all the fuck Facebook and how people are worried about it because they really don't like Facebook, and seeing Facebook trying to jump Facebook into Oculus, I see why people don't like that. But on the other hand, it's just not that big of a problem for me. I use my Facebook account to log into all sorts of places. If something lets me join with Facebook, I probably would do that, or do that already. So to me, it isn't that big of a problem.
Yeah,
as someone who is involved in this.
For a lot of people, it's more so the track record that Facebook has of mishandling all that data and stuff like that, and selling all your information. And I think connecting that to Facebook, I mean, to VR and stuff, gives them a brand new outlet of data, a brand new gold mine of how you use and operate that.
The thing here is that Facebook already owns Oculus, so in a way, your Oculus account is already a Facebook account.
You're right.
So
you're right. So it's
not that different.
It's not that different in the sense that at the end of the day, they did own them. But I think for this one, it's no longer like, oh, you have a spokesperson. It's just like, oh, here is actually Facebook. Now you have to deal straight with them.
Yeah.
There's no in between there. So.
Yeah. Also, I don't see why Facebook needs to do that. I mean, in a sense, I could see it being them just consolidating all of their accounts into one.
Yeah, I think that's what the article mentioned, just consolidation.
But then, do you really need to do that on an Oculus product? Do you already have Oculus being something separate from Facebook? Do you really need to jump Facebook into there and just phase out the Oculus account? I don't know. I don't think it's really necessary.
I don't know, man. I mean, because Facebook is, I think, trying more and more to get into gaming, right? They now have all of the tech behind Mixer, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because that Mixer folded, and they were like, okay, everyone, let's go to Facebook. And everyone was like, no!
No.
But yeah, it sounded like they were sharing some tech behind the scenes of like, hey, we're going to give them access to all the Mixer tech. I know they've signed some exclusive streamers on Facebook. I mean, they're trying, right?
Yeah, they're for sure trying in a way, but still, Oculus is still a subsidiary of Facebook. It isn't part of Facebook itself.
Yeah.
So I don't see the need of doing this. Oh, to be honest,
does Facebook own any studios? Like,
that's a good question. That's what I was thinking. I think Oculus does have its own studios, if I'm not mistaken.
They might just have like an in-house
one,
but
yeah. So then, Facebook would own them.
Like, to me, that is the next thing that I think I could see them getting into. Just being like, oh, if Amazon is starting to put out games, like, why can't we have a Facebook gaming studio, right? And just do, because I've seen them put out like Facebook original TV shows. I don't know how well they performed, and I don't know if anyone actually watched them. I know they made an adaptation of an audio drama podcast called Limetown, and I loved that podcast. And it was just like, from Facebook originals comes a world where, you know, it was that stuff, and I was just like, who's watching this? Like, I don't understand, but there's such a big company. They own a bunch of VR companies. They are into a bunch of artificial intelligence stuff. They're trying to get more into gaming. Like, I can kind of see them going in that direction.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for Oculus. They have a section for Oculus Studio.
Okay.
So I'm reading here that Oculus Studio is a division of Oculus. So then that would mean Facebook owns them. Facebook pledged to invest more than $500 million in Oculus Studios for games. By 2020, Facebook purchased Beat Games and Sansaro Games. And then Ready at Dawn, I think they also own. Was acquired by Oculus in June 2020.
I kind of remember that one, yeah.
Huh? I didn't know that. Don't remember that.
Interesting.
But yeah, they do own studios. Ready at Dawn, that's a huge get. Yeah. And Sansaro Games also, it is a name. A recognizable name.
Interesting.
So yeah, Facebook technically does own studios.
There you go. Mystery solved.
Mystery solved.
Let's see. Number 3 on our list, Halo Infinite's development potentially hindered by outsourcing. This is coming from Jordan Oleman at IGN. A report has surfaced this past week suggesting Halo Infinite's development and recent delay might have been affected by outsourcing, with the upcoming Halo TV show also apparently a significant distraction. An investigative report into the turbulent development cycle of Halo Infinite from Thurrott alleges a number of factors have contributed to the game's troubled development and eventually delay from the Xbox Series X console launch into 2021. However, 343 Industries has responded and denied that. Here is their statement. 343 Industries has a devoted transmedia team that is working with Showtime on the creation and production of the Halo TV show. This group is separate from the Halo Infinite development team. These are two completely independent projects with dedicated teams and leadership that do not impact one another. There you go. I saw this. I didn't think much of it because I know studios kind of do this every now and then. Like they'll outsource certain things. Like it's not uncommon to do that. So I originally didn't really look into this story. But I guess some people were thinking that it led to troubled development.
Well, I think there are two things that I think it's worth talking about. First, the claims that the TV show was hindering the development. I think that that's ridiculous because it's clearly something different, something separate. So I don't see how it would impact the game whatsoever.
Well, to play devil's advocate on that, we know that the Mandalorian TV show used a bunch of Unreal Engine 4 stuff for their backgrounds. So it potentially like borrowing some of the artists and stuff to create like the CG effects and things
I doubt
like that. But yeah, I
doubt
it.
It
Sounds
it's just
ridiculous too. So
it's some other studios doing that whole thing. And then the other thing was that it also in this report came out that apparently the demo that we saw, or not the demo, I don't know exactly if it was a demo or just a CG trailer, but whatever we saw on 2019 for Halo Infinite, that apparently came from another studio, an outsourced studio.
Are you what the report talking about the like teaser trailer where we see Master Chief in the ship with the one dude?
I'm assuming it's that because that's something I heard. It wasn't. I didn't read through the whole report. I've heard several people talk about it, so don't know if they were talking about a demo that was shown closed doors or if it was the. I guess it must have been the whatever teaser we got. That must have been it. But apparently that teaser was created it was outsourced to someone else, and apparently that created some unrealistic expectations for the game. And then that reverberated to now with the gameplay demo how disappointed people were because they were just so hyped from what we saw last year.
Interesting. It might have been that first initial teaser that they put out where it's just, it was like the landscapes and here's a deer and stuff like that, and there's animals and stuff, and it's kind of like zooming back, and then you see like the back of Master Chief's leg, right?
Yeah,
or something.
And then we also saw him being rescued by the other guy, seeing him floating in space.
Yeah,
and all that.
But so I mentioned that first teaser because that's the one that I remember speculating on the most, of just like, oh, it looks like it's an open world, it looks like this, I think was like the first taste that we got, which is what we would have done normally, right? Just speculate on stuff. But I'm now wondering if it's that one based on like, oh, expectations got out of hand.
Yeah,
or
it must have been that one. But yeah, the report apparently said that was outsourced, and so it creating all of these big expectations that created a problem in the end. How when we eventually saw the gameplay demo, how people were disappointed because, let's be honest, people were way too hyped from the original teaser.
They were, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. But yeah, 343 has been like, nope, they're separate. Not affected by one another, which makes sense, right? Like, I don't see why the people that make the video game would really be working on the TV show all that much, if at all. But you never know. So,
Yeah, what do I know?
I
don't
kind of forgot that they were making a Halo TV show.
Apparently, that's still a thing. I feel like they announced that so many years ago, like around when the Xbox One came out.
Well, I remember that they, like a long time ago, like I think Peter Jackson or someone
Spielberg.
was. Yeah, like Spielberg, or it was the guy that made District 9. Neil Blomkamp. I think he was somehow attached, and yeah, like it didn't work out, and so he took that money and then he made District 9, and that's why the Warthog is in District 9 there. All of that stuff, and then it kind of went away. But yeah, then they brought it back, and I know they announced who Master Chief would be. He's I don't remember the actor's name, but if you guys have seen what's it called? It's the Neil Gaiman show about American gods. If you've seen that show, there's an actor who plays a leprechaun in that show, and they got that guy to be Master Chief, supposedly. But that was announced like a year ago.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't know.
More than that. So
all I remember is that Spielberg was attached to it. Nothing ever came out of it.
They also made that like 2 or 3 episode thing. I think it eventually came out on Netflix. I think it had to. Well,
did it come out?
There was something. There was a live action show. That was only like 3 episodes. I think it was like a online thing instead. Like it wasn't actually like a TV show. But yeah, it was live action. It focused on a bunch of like new recruits. And you saw Master Chief like once in the whole thing, and he was there for like 2 seconds. But I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
Halo's apparently making a TV show too on Showtime. So there you go. I don't think I've seen a Showtime original show. Period.
Yeah, no.
Can't think
I'm
of it.
looking at the Wikipedia entry for the Halo TV series.
Okay.
Spielberg is an executive producer, according to this. And then it was announced on 2013. May 21st, 2013.
Wild.
Yeah. Principal photography began in October 2019. And that's it for filming. That's all that there is on filming.
And then coronavirus.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, if that only started principal photography in like October of 2019, and then Corona happened just like a couple months after that, like there's no way that the development of Halo Infinite would have really been affected by that, because at that stage they're just in like pre-production of like thinking of what the story would be and stuff like they don't even have like they just started principal photography and stuff. So anyways, let's move on to number 4 here. There was a big Avengers leak that happened this past week. This one is also coming from Jordan Oloman over at IGN. And they write, with the game's beta now in the wild, it didn't take long for data miners to begin pulling it apart and looking for hints as to the game's future. And two separate delves into the code revealed listings for multiple unannounced playable characters. I'm about to list them here. If you guys don't want to know, maybe just tune out for the next like 15, 20 seconds. I don't know. Starting now. There's Ant-Man, the Wasp, Vision, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Marvel, Mockingbird, Quake, Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Kate Bishop, She-Hulk, and War Machine. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Whenever you have a beta, you gotta have all of the leaks and the data mines.
Of course. I'm not necessarily surprised by this lineup, except for a couple of them. Well, yeah, I mean, considering Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done pretty well, there are some things that's like, okay, that makes sense that they would include those characters and stuff. The one that's interesting to me is Marvel.
Sure. Yeah.
Just especially because they didn't really do much with Marvel in the movie, in Captain Marvel, but you know,
kind of wasn't Marvel.
Yeah,
pretty much wasn't.
But I mean, yes, stuff like Ant-Man and the Wasp, like I'm expecting them to be in.
Well,
there.
we knew Ant-Man was going to be in there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, the most interesting thing here is that they announced that they were going to add 6 extra characters into the game. So I'm wondering what exactly these characters being in there means. If maybe it isn't 6, but it is way more than that, or are they NPCs? And if they are
like
characters,
a Super Smash Brothers style thing, where it's like, hey, season 1 you get these 6, and then season 2 you get these 6.
Yeah, and I wonder if they are indeed characters that you can play in there. I wonder with this many characters how you would roll those out, because they are plenty enough to just do it kind of like monthly, and then you still get it a lot of time to you spread it through a lot of time.
I have no idea, or if they drop like 2 or 3 of them at a time. But yeah, who knows? We'll have to see. I'm excited though. Like I'm still skeptical on the game, but I'm excited nonetheless. Like I want to see how all of this stuff plays out.
Yeah, I'm sold on the game, and I really hope that these characters are indeed going to be added as playable characters, especially Quake, since I want to play as her. And
Good
also,
stuff.
Something interesting here is that there are plenty of characters here that would play kind of like the characters that are already in the game, like War Machine, She-Hulk. Kate Bishop would play like Hawkeye, which we know will be added. But then you add in Quake, which would play different than any other character. Falcon could play different. Doctor Strange could play different.
Falcon, I imagine, would be more like Iron Man, where he's a flying type character. He'd be similar to War Machine, I think. But yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm excited. Hope that they are playable, and I hope that I can play as Quake.
No Wolverine though. I'm okay with, but that seems like a surprising one.
No mutants.
Yep, no mutants.
No mutants. No Fantastic Four.
Wait, is Quake a mutant in the comics? I don't remember.
She's an Inhuman.
I remember she's an Inhuman in
I'm
the show.
pretty sure she's also an Inhuman in the comics. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember.
But yeah, basically no mutants, of course, except for Scarlet Witch, which she's a mutant, but she still is in the MCU, so that doesn't count. But yeah,
good stuff.
Hopefully they will be added.
Yeah. So hopefully it works out, and hopefully this game is good. That's like the next big game that is coming out. So we'll see how it does. Number 5, Nintendo had their Indie World Showcase. That happened this week. I heard a lot of good things. I got to watch it this morning. So I finally saw it. I liked it too, but I think it was just good. It was pleasant. It was tight.
I think it had a good flow.
I don't think I really have anything bad to say about it. They just did their thing and got out.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't have everything listed here because there's a lot of stuff that they announced as they just kind of shot us through a bunch of it. But here are some of the highlights. I'm kind of rating off of a rundown by Matt Wales over at Eurogamer. So we know that Hades from Supergiant Games is coming to Switch this fall. I'm kind of excited about that one.
Yeah,
I've
especially
heard
because
great things.
It was an Epic Games exclusive.
It was, yeah.
I think it's only ever been there. So
yeah,
now
because
that
it's been in early access, and I don't think it's not out yet. So I think when it comes to Switch, will be the like, hey, here we are, 1.0. Who knows? Yep. Or maybe they like recently went to 1.0. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Anyways, Spiritfarer is out now on Switch. That is also available on Game Pass right now. I've heard surprisingly good things about this game, too, that a lot of people are really liking it. It doesn't really seem like a game for me. So it looks kind of cutesy, almost anime-ish, but it's this like quiet, more serene story that's a management sim about you transporting the souls of animals to the afterlife, and you have this ship that is floating on the river, and you can like customize your ship and what rooms are on the ship and stuff like that. And basically, yeah, you just like befriend these souls and make memories with them, and you can fish and go on adventures and stuff like that. It just seems like very pleasant. And from what I've been hearing on podcasts and stuff, that it's good. It's very, very pleasant, and people enjoy it. And it's surprisingly, it's surprising to them how much they are liking it. So, there's that, and then Manifold Garden is coming to Switch, PS4, and Xbox One eventually. I think I didn't catch a release date on that, but I've heard good things with that. I think Eurogamer mentioned that they put that on 2019's like top games, or it was one of their favorites or something like that. That seems like a cool puzzle game to check out.
Well, yeah, it looks cool. It looks pretty mind-bending.
It's kind of mind-bending. It's a puzzle-like game that kind of takes place in this like all-white kind of atmospheric. I don't even know where you are. Right, you're in some like weird dimension, and then it looks like you're moving these cubes around and connecting different locations, and like big obstacles are moving. Like, it's hard to explain, but it looks really neat.
Yeah. Also, you said eventually. I think it's out now.
It's out now? Okay, good.
Yeah, it is out now.
They had a lot of stuff that was like, and it's out now.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. But yeah, Manifold Garden is out now.
After that, we got Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. Those are both coming to Switch in 2021. Those are kind of like survival, almost horror games, but they're all underwater.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's about you crash landing on this other planet, and it all takes place pretty much on a sea, and so it is about you swimming around, looking for stuff, upgrading your own ship, and all that stuff.
Cool stuff. I think when Subnautica first came out, I think I caught Snowbike Mike streaming it. I was like, okay, good stuff. Good on you, Snowbike Mike. Let's see. Up next, Raji is a Switch timed exclusive, and it is available now. This is an interesting game because it was made by an Indian dev team, and it looks like it's pulling from a lot of that culture and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of Prince of Persia.
Yeah, especially since it had the run wall in there.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's one to keep an eye on, and it is a Switch timed exclusive. Up next, a short hike is available now on Switch. I have heard phenomenal things about a short hike, and I'm thinking about eventually picking up this game. From what I understand, it's a lot like Breath of the Wild in the sense that like exploration is open, and you can do whatever you want.
Isn't it like that?
But I've heard it's also very short. Yeah, it's only like 2 hours, and like the whole conceit of the game is you are waiting on a call, but you don't have cell service, so you try to hike to the top of the mountain, and to get there, like you need like certain tools, or you need like you need a way up there, and so yeah, you just start exploring and start like running into people and stuff, and they'll be like, hey, I'll give you a compass if you do X. If you do something for me, right? Or hey, I'll give you like a hang glider if you give me $50. And it's like, well, I don't have money, but I can sell fish to get money, and then I can go do. And yeah, there's just like all sorts of stuff that you can do. Apparently,
yeah, it is a short hike.
Indeed, but I've heard good things. Good things.
Yeah, it looks cool. Too bad it's short.
Up next, Untitled Goose Game is getting a co-op mode.
Game of the Year winner, Untitled Goose Game.
Right? Yeah, I enjoyed that game. I think it would be a lot of fun to play with a second person. Do I necessarily need that, though? Not really.
Yeah.
But I think
looking at the trailer, I felt so bad for everyone in the trailer. Every human in there.
Dicks.
I had to deal with all these ghosts.
Oh
skis.
My God. Yeah, because, like, that's the whole thing of, like, you're just an asshole goose. Like, honking at people and stuff. And then there's that one
second one,
it
was just mean.
The one at the end with the boy and his glasses that they've gotten him to take off and lose. He is in, like, hurricane ducking and cover position, and they're just circling him, being like,
God. So mean.
So funny. But yeah, so that's getting a free co-op mode coming this fall. And last but not least, the last thing that I want to mention is Grindstone is coming to Switch this year in the fall. This one I think is notable because when Apple Arcade first launched, this was one of the games that was on there. And this was a lot of people's favorites. They said that this one was incredible, and as of right now, that Apple Arcade is the only place that you can get that game. You cannot just buy it on your phone as an app separately. Like, you have to get Apple Arcade. So for the fact that it's out on Switch is like, hey, if you liked it, this is a way that you can get that game without supporting Apple Arcade if you don't have it, or if you just don't want to pay the $5 a month. So
yeah, I wonder how much it will cost, because last time we saw a game coming from Apple Arcade to the Switch, I think they charge a good amount. So I wonder how much they will charge, especially since Apple Arcade is $5?
I never played the game, but yeah, I think Apple Arcade is $5. So since I never played it, I don't really know how long it is or what a fair price should be. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. And because I know you play the game on your phone with a touch screen. But are they going to be using the controls on the thing, or is it touchscreen only, or what is happening with that? So I don't know.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are excited for all of that stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, Indie World Showcase, man. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, like I said before, it was a good pace. As to the quality of the games, it is an indie showcase, so if you are into indies, this was a show for you. If not, then I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm still
I think
looking for a full Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
Nintendo
I think
Direct.
there's always one or two things you guys can find from an indie thing, and it's good to just keep an eye on that stuff to be like, hey, like this stuff is coming out real soon.
Yeah,
it might be something different, or to hold you until the next big game, whenever that might be. So we don't know. We still don't know shit about what Nintendo is putting out on their platform for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Who knows that stuff. Ignacio.
Yo.
So you mentioned to me before we started the podcast that I think there's a stream for Rocksteady's Suicide Squad thing. Is that at
should be in 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay. I think what we're gonna do is we are going to take a quick break. Something we don't normally do. Ignacio and I are going to go watch that stream. And then we will come back. When that is done, we will talk about it, and then we will continue on with the rest of our show after that. So we will see you in just a little bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We took a quick break to watch the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League live stream happening at Fandome, at DC Fandome right now. We're jumping right into our new and notable section because we got at least 2 Batman games and a few other things to mention with all of that stuff. Let's start out with the stuff that the news that came out this morning with WB Montreal's game, or do you want to jump in straight to Suicide Squad since we just watched that one?
Yeah, I would say Suicide Squad before I forget anything because we don't have anything written.
Okay, I took a couple notes, but there's not much. So yeah, so we just saw the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League cinematic trailer. The first big thing that I noticed was that it is coming out in 2022.
Yeah, still
a ways away.
Yeah.
Which I, to be honest, a little disappointed in. But
yeah, for sure,
hey,
especially since it's been several years since Rocksteady released the game.
Yeah.
I think it's been 7 years since Night, and then after that they did Arkham VR.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while.
That said, I thought this cinematic trailer looked awesome.
Yeah, it looked cool, and most of all, it looked so different from the Arkham games.
It really did, yeah. I mean,
tone-wise.
Yeah, tone-wise, it's completely different. It does feel like Suicide Squad. It does feel, they didn't go like full-on Suicide Squad movie. That first one we had, because that one was more like Hot Topic, the movie.
Sure.
But I feel like just from that small space, it seems like they have a good balance. Team has a good dynamic. It's characters that we know. They seem funny. They seem in character. Yeah. Like I'm really digging what we saw so far from that one.
Yeah, we didn't see anything else other than the cinematic trailer.
Yeah, especially considering the release date is 2022, we didn't get any kind of gameplay or stuff like that. Which again, I was like, man, I had hoped that we would have seen gameplay, but they did share a couple of details. You can play the game solo or 1 to 4 player co-op.
Oh, so you can go up to 4.
Yeah, they specify that you can go up to 4 player co-op. If you play solo, then it will load 3 bots in as your companions that will play the other characters. And I missed it because I was opening up my phone so I could write some notes down. I don't know if he said you could switch between the characters or not. I'll have to go back and see if I can look at that.
I didn't hear that part.
Okay, then maybe not then. So don't get hyped up on that. But 1 to 4 players co-op, where you can play it all solo. You can play as Harley, Deadshot, Boomerang, or King Shark.
Boomerang. Captain.
Yeah,
Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang. It's set in Metropolis, which I'm excited about. That we get to see somewhere other than Gotham. And they said that
according to the, I don't know who he was that was talking from Rocksteady. Was he the director?
I don't remember his exact title. It was Sefton Hall, I believe was his name. I don't know.
Well, he talked about how Metropolis was going to be like this fifth character. So
yeah,
he talked about how they put some emphasis on the city of Metropolis itself.
Yeah, which is good. Which is what I fell in love with the Arkham games that they made. Exactly. Is that there was just so much detail, so much like rich Easter eggs and references to this thing and that thing, and it was just like, they really did their research with that stuff. So I'm excited to see all of that in Metropolis as well. But from the trailer, I guess to kind of give like a basic setup and synopsis of what is happening, it seems like Brainiac has done some things and is taking over.
He's invading
people, or he has like an alien force. They didn't look like Dominators, but they didn't look like Kaluans either.
Like your generic alien invader.
Yeah, alien kind of looking thing. And the Suicide Squad has been tasked to not only kill a bunch of them, but their main mission has been to kill Superman, kill the Justice League. They did not comment, though, beyond Superman. Yeah. Right? Like, they said the name is Kill the Justice League, but then they only show Superman in that trailer and only mentioned him. Like, we gotta kill the big guy, right?
I liked how they introduced him in the trailer.
Yeah, so it looks
especially
like
King Shark. He's red.
Yeah. So it looks like Superman is also being mind controlled by Brainiac, because that's one of Brainiac's powers and stuff like that. So Superman has gone evil, and God damn, I cannot speak. The Suicide Squad, this Superside Squad, they have to take out Superman, at least. Dude, I think it looks fun.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. The tone of it, the banter in between the characters, and then again the scene with Superman, how Superman itself was being super serious, but then the team was still being just so comedic. I really love the tone of it.
Yeah.
And it's also incredible how it is set in the universe of the Arkham games.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Which is going to be interesting, because we don't know when or where it sets.
Kinda doesn't make sense because of Deadshot in particular.
True. I mean, maybe... Did he die in the Arkham games, or no?
No.
Was he just in a different costume?
No, the last time we saw him was in City. I mean, timeline-wise, it wasn't City, and it was just Batman apprehended him.
Okay, so, I mean, maybe he got out and has a different costume and stuff.
Also, different skin tone. He was white in the Arkham games.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember
I mean, in City, you barely see him without being fully covered with his costume. I was looking at it right now before we started recording. That there are like some 5 seconds where you see his skin, but he's white in there.
Okay. And I don't remember. I want to say he's white in the comics as well, but I don't remember. I don't know if I've actually seen him without his mask off.
Well, he's Will Smith in the movie, so I'm guessing they are taking the inspiration from that. After
them, yeah.
I'll drop a link for you for the video that I was watching. The final 5, you really don't see it much. It really is like 5 seconds where you see him without any covering.
Whatever.
Or without
it's
being
fine.
full covered.
Maybe it's
a reverse Michael Jackson.
Yeah, or like just someone with the same name, right? Like, my name is John Smith, and I am the only John Smith on the planet Earth. Yeah, right, buddy.
Yeah, well, apparently
maybe there's another Floyd.
He's still Floyd. Okay. Floyd. Yeah, sure. I dropped the link for you if you want to check it out.
Okay, cool. Let's see what this is. Oh. Copy and paste. See what that is. Batman Arkham City play. Batman, are you too scared to face me? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. It's whatever. Yeah, he does look like a white guy in that.
Yeah.
A grubby old white guy.
But still, other than that, I like the
Whatever.
fact that it is connected to the Arkham universe.
Yeah.
I hope that by doing that, they can still fill in a bit of the parts as to what happened after Night, hopefully.
That, or if we want to get really into the weeds, this could be another universe, right? Somehow something.
They say it is the same universe.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but like the DC multiverse is a thing. I'm wondering if they're like putting that in there somehow. I don't know. I'm just
if you're saying it is the
stupid
same
stuff.
universe, I doubt you mean it's a parallel universe.
Anyways, I think it looks good. I'm excited.
Yeah, it looks good. I like the tone. I still want to see the gameplay, how they tackle it being 4 characters at all times, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how that affects gameplay.
Yeah, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving on to the next Batman game, we also know WB Montreal's Gotham Knights is going to be coming out in 2021. That was announced this morning at DC Fandome. I actually was kind of monitoring the live stream as Melissa and I were recording the Captain's Log this morning, so I got to watch it in the midst of that stuff. And then went back to watch it later on. But this is an interesting one because you can play it as solo or as a 2-player co-op game, even though there are also 4 characters that you can play as. You can play as Red Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing.
Red Robin, the chain?
No, that's his name.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Red
100. No, there is Red Hood. Then there's Red Robin.
No, in the game it is Red Hood, and then there's Robin.
I mean, he is Robin, but that Robin goes on to change his name to Red Robin. I will send you the link right now.
Okay, then I'll send you the link with where they say which characters they are. And he's
Red
Robin here.
Comics. Here we go. Wikipedia. That link or look up Tim Drake. That's who he is. Drake, Red Robin. There we go. Drake.
Well, the point is he's Robin here.
Yeah.
Not Red Robin. Not the fast food chain.
No, he's
Right?
not the fast food chain.
Yeah.
So that link should to take you to the Wikipedia page. I put that in our doc. But yeah, he is Robin for a while, and then wants to like go out on his own, and so he changes his name to Red Robin. So that's just what I know him as. Like, I could also say that Nightwing is also Robin because he was Robin 2, and
Robin
Red
here.
Hood is also Robin. So, but yeah, you can play as all 4 of them. However, if you want to do co-op, you can only do 2-player co-op, and then gave a little bit about the story. It looks like it picked up right after the Batman Arkham Knight
Nope.
storyline.
It isn't the same.
Kind of.
It isn't the same universe.
It's not? I don't know, man.
Nope.
It looked like they did the thing where they exploded it all, right? At the end of that game, which is what they did.
Yeah, but the thing is that here you play as Batgirl, as Barbara Gordon's Batgirl. And if you remember from Arkham Knight, she was at that point Oracle. She was in the wheelchair.
Good call. Yeah, so I guess it's set in its own thing, but it alludes to Batman being dead.
Yeah.
But we don't know if he's dead or if he's just missing or what's happening. Don't really know what, but it is time for these 4 Bat family members to step up and become Gotham Knights.
Yeah, so Batman's presumed dead, and there's also the Court of Owls going around in the game. So you have to assume probably he isn't dead. He just confronted the Court of Owls and disappeared.
Exactly.
Also, one thing, if you pay attention on the trailer, they start saying, you hear like a news person talking, and that person said, "We can confirm that Bruce Wayne ... Doesn't our brother say it's dead or was found dead?"
Yeah, they stop like right before that.
That's like a fake out to say he is gone missing or something like that, which would go with the Court of Owls from the comics, in which he disappears because he gets trapped in the maze.
Exactly. Yeah, at the kind of end of that trailer, it kind of goes dark, and you hear this like weird, creepy voice that is doing some like nursery style rhyme. We see some Court of Owls people, some thugs with the mask on and stuff, and then they mention Talon. That he will go after you and stuff like that. So
yeah,
what's this? You just put a tweet from
just
Greg
information
Miller?
on the characters.
Okay. Gotham Knights sounds marvelous. Blah blah blah. I'll read that later on. So I liked that one as well, though this one had some interesting changes to the game. It looked like they are starting to incorporate a little bit more RPG elements to the game.
It gave me a lot of flashbacks to AC Origins.
Yeah.
And that has me worried, to be honest.
That's, like I don't know. I'm
because you can see that the enemies have levels.
Right.
You see the enemy levels on top of their heads, and then you see numbers pop up, and you see
when you
your
hit them and
character
stuff
gets
like that,
experience. So one of my problems that I had with AC Origins was that you, at some point, you would have to inevitably grind. If you didn't have a certain level, you weren't able to progress through the story. And it would force you to play in a certain way, which is not a way that I like to play games. And it's not the way that the Arkham games have been before that. So that's my worry, that it will go the way of AC Origins and later AC Odyssey, which made me not like the series anymore. I love the Arkham games, just like before I used to love the AC games.
Yeah, it looks like both of these developers are trying to like slowly get away from the Arkham stuff, right? Like, Gotham Knights also dropped the Arkham name. That's no longer in there, and Rocksteady moved on to Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, the gameplay was still there. It was still pretty much playing as an Arkham game.
Yeah,
I really love even the traversal through the city that we saw. For minimal that it was, it reminded me a lot of Arkham Knight, which with the bat cycle, I know.
Yeah,
and also the combat, the traversal. It did look like it still had all of the Predator stuff in there. So hopefully they don't take away that in favor of more of an action game.
Yeah,
especially since you're playing co-op.
I was hesitant when they introduced that stuff into Assassin's Creed However, I liked Origins. Like I don't mind some of that RPG stuff. Yeah, like you made some good points. Sometimes, like you might get to a certain spot. It's like, okay, that's not in my power level. I need to go grind and stuff like that, and that's no fun. But yeah, like I think for the most part, I don't mind it. So I'm willing to see what they do with the game. But I'm also I'm happy that they changed the name, or they got rid of the Arkham name. If they
Sure.
kept it like Arkham Knights 2 or something, right? And then started to introduce that stuff, I think I'd be a little more upset. I'm like, okay, you're starting to make something different here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think they have the freedom to do that now that it's a different name. Similar gameplay though, but just starting to tweak some of that stuff.
Yeah. The other point that had me worried watching the gameplay was that they showed the boss fight against Mr. Freeze in the game, and I thought that it just looked very generic. Like it looked like the same kind of boss fight you would see in the Division or now in the Avengers game or all of these other games. Whereas before, in the other Arkham games, or most of the boss fights were pretty unique. Especially the Mr. Freeze boss fights were pretty unique.
That one was good. So they did
now
show
we have a generic one.
Like right at the end there. We didn't get to see much of it, but we see Mr. Freeze on his like weather manipulation device. But by the way, Mr. Freeze, at least in that part of the game, has like changed the weather in Gotham, so there's a bunch of lightning. It's getting really cold. It's freezing. But it looks like there were these like electric currents that were going out of the device along the ground and rotating, like you would see in like a typical boss fight, right, where you have to like dodge the attack. So I'm wondering if there's going to be things like, okay, after a certain amount of time, he's gonna like hop up there. You then, instead of having to fight him, have to like hit the machines or do something to like make it explode, and that knocks him off, and then you can go fight him some more. Then he'll get back on there. I don't know, but like we could still potentially see some interesting boss fights. But you do bring up a good point that it did look a little bit more, like the Division or like what you would see in Assassin's Creed.
I mean, pretty much here, Mr. Freeze was just a bigger enemy with the same enemy, just with a bigger life bar and with a big gun. And that just reminds me a lot of games like The Division, which that would be a boss in there, pretty much. Yeah. But it does look like the game is gonna be meaty, which seeing the gameplay, other than that boss fight in specific, it did still look like Arkham gameplay and Arkham traversal. So, and it also is going to be, I'm assuming, a good story, and it looks like it's gonna be meaty because apparently this was just 12 hours into the campaign, and about halfway through Mr. Freeze's campaign in specific. And apparently there will be 4 big enemies. So if it's just halfway through Mr. Freeze, and that's 12 hours in, and that there are 4, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a long game.
25, 30-ish, something. I'm down with that though. Like I thought these both looked phenomenal, and I'm psyched to get to play them.
Yeah, I for sure still want to play it. It still looked like, at least the gameplay looked a lot like the other Arkham games.
Indeed.
I mean, it looks so pretty.
It really does. They look so good. Yeah. And just the cinematic trailer for Suicide Squad looked great. It was acted so well.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Moving on here a bit in our new and notable section. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is official.
That's one heck of a long game.
Yeah. Why did they abbreviate this one to? It's like COD Blops CW.
exactly.
Blobsk. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we know a release date with that yet, right?
No. I'm still pretty impressed that it took them this long to actually announce the game.
Right? Yeah, because I think usually at this point we know what the game is, we know what it looks like, we know when it's coming out, and we don't know a thing. So that is also kind of making me think if this might be a launch title, like a thing that they do, like a cross-generational, but it launches on the same day. That's why they can't announce it.
I don't know if it launches on the same day, but I do expect it to be also. There also be a next-gen version.
Right, yeah.
We saw that already last time with, I think it was Call of Duty Ghosts, which came out right in time for the next gen. But it also came out on the previous
the memorable Call of Duty Ghosts.
Hey, it has a level here in Chile, so it is pretty memorable.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So I don't know.
Good that we finally know what this year's Call of Duty... Well, maybe this year's Call of Duty we don't know. Maybe we'll punt it to next year.
Coming out in January 2021. Who knows?
Yeah. And also they don't have any hurry to actually release a new Call of Duty game since they have Warzone. And Warzone is doing so well for them.
You are correct. That would be one thing I would like to see from that franchise. Like, don't do every year. Skip a year. Or, like, have 1 year be the, like, campaign story-focused one, and then, like, the next year do, like, a big update to their Battle Royale and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the thing there is that they still make a lot of money from Call of Duty, so why just not release a game in a year if you know it will sell?
Money talks.
Exactly. These are companies, after
all. Next up, Ghost of Tsushima is getting a free co-op update this fall called Ghost of Tsushima Legends. This looks like a 1 to 4 player co-op thing that you can do. It looks like there's a bunch of missions. I think they mentioned there's going to be raids and stuff like that. And it looks like it's leaning into the more like mystical stuff, spirits, things, which is I think one thing that a lot of people were hoping for in Ghost of Tsushima.
I did not see this coming at all.
Oh no, not me. This is crazy. I saw this and I was like, what? This is. It looks really, really cool. But yeah, like I don't know. Like it doesn't necessarily look like you can play it solo though. I don't think they specified that, or they said it was like you had to do it co-op or something. I don't know. But if it's co-op only, then probably not for me. But who knows? It did look good. Like it looked. I mean that game looks beautiful in general, but just to then like see them go into these like mystical landscapes where like things are floating in midair, and I was like, oh, that looks really cool.
It's nothing like the core game, which is
not
so grounded.
Yeah. Not at all. That looks good. Yeah. Good for them for like
good for them.
Not having that leak to be like, oh yeah, we're also working on a co-op mode thing. Good. Deathloop has been delayed to Q2 2021. I am bummed about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was going to be a PlayStation launch title, if I'm not mistaken, for PlayStation 5. I think it was also a console exclusive, right?
Yeah, it is a console exclusive. I don't know if we knew it was going to be a launch title.
Okay, it may have just been launch window then, but yeah, like this was, I think, Xbox just had Halo delayed. PlayStation 5 now just has Deathloop delayed, which is not this, not the same system seller kind of thing, right? But this was still one that I was really, really looking forward to. But I am still excited about this game. I think it's going to be fantastic. In our upper runners, we have a little bit of information on how the DualSense controller will work with this game too. So we'll get to that in just a bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
been
is a huge-
delayed.
It is a huge bummer. Me being a huge Dishonored fan, and this giving me such Dishonored vibes.
Yeah,
I'm pretty bummed that we'll have to wait longer to play it.
exactly. Last but not least in our new and notable section, Ignacio, you can always be the pervert that you've wanted to be. Master Roshi
Thank you.
is coming to Dragon Ball FighterZ next month.
Fighters.
Fighters. What a terrible name. But yeah, Master Roshi. Who would have thought?
Turtle
He'll be in his
himself.
big ol' strong self, and his Kamehameha on there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I mean, it does make sense in a way, because they are already in Season Pass 3, and I think it's the second character that they've announced out of 5. So it does make sense that to include Roshi in there, since he was a part of the Tournament of Power, the latest arc. So it's cool to see him in there. I haven't played Fighters in a while. I have none of the Season Pass. But it's cool to see him there. It's cool that they are still supporting the game.
Now, you said Season Pass, but if it's Master Roshi, I bet that he thought someone said see some ass. And that's why he was there, right? No?
No.
But
Also, I think it's Fighter Pass, not Season Pass.
whatever. Bite her ass? Man,
Oh,
sign
God,
me up.
Kyle. You need to be stopped, Kyle.
Yeah, that wraps us up for new and notable. So let's go into our upper runners. Apparently, Ubisoft collector's editions of games will apparently no longer come with physical copies of the games on Xbox. However, they still will on PlayStation.
What? This is the first that I've heard of that.
I saw it going around on Twitter. I don't really have much to say on it because I don't really buy collector's editions, but I guess this is just a step forward in like collector's editions also going digital.
Kind of. Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
I've always found it so weird whenever a collector's edition doesn't come with the game. Like, you're paying all this much money for the game and you're not even including the game itself.
Like I
always
think
find it so weird.
I think it'd be good to offer both options, right? Like if you do want the physical version, yeah, it's a collector's edition. That makes sense to like buy the physical one. But sometimes like they come with a neat statue and that's like the only thing that you want, right? And so it's just like, hey, I'll buy the collector's edition, but I don't want a physical game. Like give me the digital one.
Yeah. Also,
who knows?
Weird that not on Xbox, but still on PlayStation. Why?
I have no idea. No idea.
Did PlayStation give you a deal to keep them in there? Did Xbox say that they don't care anymore if they include it on there?
Well,
Why?
yeah. I mean, I guess that's the thing. It depends on where Ubisoft is getting the games printed and like what games they are or stuff like that. If it's I guess they're third party, so PlayStation or Xbox aren't publishing them. So PlayStation and Xbox aren't the ones paying for the discs to be made. This is just this is a decision on Ubisoft that I guess Microsoft is maybe just pushing for more digital only. Oh, maybe, you know what?
What?
You know what? I bet it's because of the what do they call it? Not well, yeah. What's the smart delivery thing? Yeah, right. Like if you buy a physical copy of the game,
you still get smart delivery with a physical version. I'm pretty sure.
You do?
It would be pretty weird for their messaging if they excluded physical games.
Okay. I don't know, but weird story.
Very weird.
Next up. Apparently, there was an ad agency that donated to a couple Twitch streamers using their text-to-speech programs to advertise for their clients. And of course, streamers were pissed. I had no idea what this meant when I first saw this story. I was like, what is happening? I read a article on Kotaku about this by Nathan Grayson, and apparently, there is an ad agency that represented Burger King.
Yeah.
And they were going on to someone's stream that had a text-to-speech thing. So if you donated like $5, right, you could type in a message and it would say it out loud on the stream. So this ad company would donate a certain amount of money that was equal to like a certain number of things from Burger King, and their message would be what it is that they bought. So it's like, hey, you can get a cheeseburger and a drink and some fries for $3.99.
Yeah, basically promoting a menu item.
Yeah, and so like was kind of strange, right, to see that happen, and then they were doing it repeatedly to multiple people, and at some point someone was like, all right, dude, are you gonna sponsor me or what?
Yeah,
because like I make all my money off of advertisements and stuff like that. So people got pissed.
On one hand, you just took advantage of a loophole. On the other hand, this is a pretty shitty thing to do.
Yeah,
to basically force an ad onto someone. It's a pretty shitty thing to do. And the weird part here is that I first heard of this because people were just sharing around Twitter a video that I think this ad company put out where they were kind of like boasting about what they did.
Yeah, like, oh, look at this neat new ad.
Look at the thing that we
campaign.
did. Look how we just tipped all these streamers to have them talk about our menu item.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Like you couldn't have foreseen people not liking this?
Shitty thing to do, man.
Yeah.
Well, in other news, PlayStation has released their first commercial for PlayStation 5, and no games were shown. It was more of a tone piece. I haven't seen it yet. Have you checked it out? No?
No.
So it looks like it's more of like a tone piece, like,
which is pretty standard.
PlayStation 5.
It is pretty standard. I still remember the one that they did for the PS4, which was just setting the tone, not really showing any game.
Indeed. Speaking of PlayStation 5, we got a little bit more information on the DualSense controller and its haptic feedback. I mentioned previously Deathloop was delayed into 2021. Apparently, in games like Deathloop, if your gun jams, then the controller has the ability to lock the triggers, but it feels like your controller has jammed too, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And the way that I saw this being framed was like you could feel the trigger being jammed before you realized that the gun, or before you saw in the game that the gun was jammed.
Yeah,
so that's
one
cool
all
thing.
The animation,
which I thought it was pretty cool. It reminded me a lot of the light bar on the DualShock 4 and how I used it while playing Resident Evil 3. How for me it was easier to realize the amount of light that I had by looking at the light bar than actually paying attention to my health in the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, and also the fact that the trigger jumps when your gun jumps, I think it's also pretty cool.
They also mentioned for stuff like Miles Morales, if you get hit by a bad guy, you'll know which direction it's coming from based on the vibration. Your spider senses.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
How it would be like your spider sense. How you would feel it in the controller.
Interesting. See, what would be neat is if it vibrated before you got hit, because that's how his spider sense actually works. Like it warns him before you get hit, not just when you get hit.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That would be neat. So yeah, there's a little bit more information out there on some of the neat things that it will do. if you guys want to go look that up. Microsoft has revealed a new dashboard for the Series X. Looks like it will also be debuting eventually on Xbox One, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But there you go. If you guys want to go see what that looks like, it's out there.
I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the current dashboard for Xbox, and looking at the newer one, I'm still not liking it.
Still not a fan. Interesting. Okay.
No, because I think it makes it way too convoluted to get where you want to go. It's not like in the PS4 dashboard where you just have all of your games in one line that you can go through, and then if you heat up, you get all these options. No, in the Xbox is way more convoluted as to where to go if you want to do a certain thing.
Interesting. I have no point of reference because I don't have an Xbox, so...
It reminds me a lot of... It really feels like they took Windows 10 and modded it to fit on the Xbox. That's what it
Is it
reminds
still
me a lot of.
the tiles of stuff, like the masonry tiles thing?
No, that
No?
was 360. I don't know. From what I know, it has changed a lot.
Anyways, it's out there if you guys want to go check it out.
Yeah.
Next up, the narrative lead and creative director, I guess one in the same person, of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was suddenly terminated. He has been fired from his job. I don't know why. I don't think there was any kind of accusations out there from what I remember.
I got no idea.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, just weird. Suddenly terminated.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I mentioned at the start this mysterious tower found in Microsoft Flight Simulator in Australia.
Tell me about it.
Real fast. Yeah, so long story short, Microsoft Flight Simulator uses data from Bing Maps to create their one-to-one planet, right, that you can fly with. I mean, Microsoft owns Bing, right?
I know.
Bing. No one uses Bing. But apparently Bing pulls some of their data from this, I don't know if it's open source or not, but this, specific map data collection website thing. And anyone can use the data for whatever they want. And apparently, someone erroneously said that their house was 212 stories tall.
Oh, wow.
It was a typo, and they eventually fixed it. But before they fixed it, Microsoft exported the data and then used that for the game. And so, yeah, right now, if you fly to Melbourne, Australia, there is this giant tower.
Yeah,
just piercing the sky. And it's just this really bland looking tower. It just looks like a rectangle, but it's so strange because everything is nowhere near how tall it would be. And I think someone figured out that it was if that was the actual height of that building, it would be the second tallest building in the world. Wild. Oh,
it is.
Crazy stuff. I thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But last but not least, don't forget about Gamescom. That's starting on August 27th and will be running through the 30th. So that's coming up this week and next weekend as
Opening
well.
Night Live.
Yeah,
Finally.
opening Jeff
One Night
Keighley's
Stand.
One Night Stand.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think there's gonna be some big announcements and stuff. I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's Jeff Keighley. They have.
Yeah, it's Jeff Keighley. But if you guys didn't know, Gamescom is the biggest gaming event in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Most people pay attention to E3 more, but in terms of sheer numbers of people, Gamescom has always been ginormous. But of course, they're doing it all digital. So there'll be plenty of streams and stuff like that for you guys to watch this week and next weekend. So, yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed.
There we go. That wraps us up for this week, Ignacio.
Yep.
Let's get out of here with what we normally do each week. What are you excited for coming up this week?
Nothing really.
Nothing.
Yeah. I don't have...
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, opening night live. That's this week.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some good announcements there. Also, one of the rumors is that there is supposed to be a Nintendo Direct this month. So if it is true, it would have to be this week.
Ah.
So hopefully that's true. We've gone way too long without a proper Nintendo Direct. So
True.
Hopefully we'll get one soon.
Okay, we'll be on the lookout for that stuff. I am excited not only to continue watching Lucifer, but episode 1 of Tell Me Why comes out this week on the 27th. That is the first episode of Don't Nod's new game, the developers of Life is Strange, and I'm super excited about that one. The game follows two twins, or I guess one set of twins, and one of the characters is trans, and I believe it's the first playable trans character in a video game, period. So
Maybe.
Yeah, I know there's been a couple other trans characters in video games, but I think this is the first playable one, they said. So good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited about that because I love Life is Strange, and I want to see what they're up to next. So there you go. That's what I'll be up to, and also playing some Halo. Still haven't gotten to beat Halo 1 yet, or finish replaying Halo 1. So there you go. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojas B. That's IGNACIOROJASB. That's my name.
You can find me at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to stay up to date with this show or our other podcasts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a foe. Go kill the Justice League, or however you need to spread the word with our podcast. That would help us out a ton. But I think that wraps us up for episode 38 of Crossplay. So we will see you guys next week. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We hope you enjoyed that one. Leave a comment down below if you guys are excited for the new Batman and Suicide Squad games, and which one you are looking forward to more. In the meantime, though, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in this corner. That would help us out a ton. And go watch one of our other videos right down there in that corner. We would appreciate that as well. But until next time, we will see you then. Bye.